You're listening to No Retreat, hosted by Cheryl Ann, produced by Scott Douglas. Today on No Retreat, our guest is Justin Michal, Republican primary candidate for U.S. Representative for Michigan's 1st Congressional District. Welcome to the program, Justin. Would you like to take a few moments and introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to thank you for reaching out to me and offering me the opportunity to be on your show and to discuss some of the things that mean the most in terms of running for Congress in Michigan's 1st Congressional District. A little bit about myself. I am native to northern Michigan. I graduated from a small town called Grayling. Great place to grow up. We're in the middle of two beautiful rivers, the Asable and the Manistee. They're pristine blue ribbon trout streams. One of those places that's pure Americana. People work hard. They do what they can to support their communities, and just a really safe space to grow up as a kid. You get to spend time outdoors and do things that a lot of kids don't get the opportunity to do. So upon my graduation from high school, I went down to Florida. I was preparing to be a professional golfer. I was training at IMG Academies in Bradenton, Florida, and 9/11 happened. And that prompted me to make the decision to join the United States Army, which I served honorably in combat for 14 months in Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom. I suffered and sustained some injuries in combat, which led to my retirement from the United States Army. I then went into academia and spent a while getting degrees in aeronautical science, entrepreneurship, a master's in business administration, and I'm completing my PhD in conflict analysis and resolution studies. Throughout my adult life and my professional life, during that time of studying, I have traveled to 127 countries where I did conflict resolution. 70 of those countries were conflict zones. Spent a lot of time ratifying constitutions, finding humanitarian aid, working in human rights, identifying ways to create peace in regions that were extreme conflict zones, and really understood the importance of dialogue in that sector. I also worked 5 years with the Department of Veterans Affairs at a vet center, which was an amazing experience because it gave me an opportunity to reconnect with the veteran community and assist them transitioning from combat operations to civilian life, which is a struggle for a lot of veterans. So my experience has kind of led me into wanting to run for Congress, and looking at the Republican Party and some of the transitions that we're going through in terms of leadership. I think it's really important that we start getting people who are vibrant and have the energy and the moxie to do what it takes to lead the Republican Party through the next quarter century.
Well, that brings up a very good point about the energy and the moxie and all of those things, because there are a lot of seriously ancient people serving right now, that both in the Senate and the House. And I agree that some fresh resolve, some fresh faces could be helpful.
Well, one thing I want to say about that is the incumbent that I'm actually challenging in the primary is currently 79 years old. So that's something that we're facing in our district directly. And considering the fact that our district is the largest geographic district this side of the Mississippi, it encompasses roughly 28,000 square miles and has 36 counties in the district. It's a struggle to get out there and meet the people and give the energy that's required to really represent those individuals and those constituents. So, that is something, age is something that we're facing in our district, and energy is something that we definitely need.
Yes, and it doesn't, and for most able-bodied Americans, so I'm 60, right? 79 isn't a turn-off number for me. But when you look at the demographics of the United States, while we have a significant elderly population, I don't know that we need a significant elderly population represented in Congress because of the stamina required and the transition back and forth, the travel that you must do to DC back to your home district. And like you said, you have this huge district that needs to be traversed, right? People need to be interacted with.
Well, in addition to that, you're trying to get youthful bodies into your party.
Absolutely.
To support. And it's not an ageism argument. I think sometimes people, when they hear that and they identify numbers, they instantly think, well, you're targeting the elderly population. It's not that at all. What it is the fact that we need new people to support our positions, our conservative voices. And they're not identifying with that age demographic. They feel disconnected to their leadership because they're looking at them like, you've been retired for 20 years. You may have been on Social Security for 15 or 20 years. How do you relate to somebody who's struggling to pay their bills or get a job or compete against AI and other factions? You're not living the same lifestyle that I'm living at this age, where I'm in the peak of a working career.
Correct.
Or I'm graduating from college. You're 2 or 3 generations removed from me as a 20-year-old or 22-year-old college graduate. And that's not inspiring the younger generations to get out and vote, get out and participate in their party, to get out and be the voice and do the door knocking and get people excited because they're not excited.
Well, yeah, because they can't, there's nothing relatable. If so somebody who's 79 years old, I mean, not picking on the person you're running against, let's just say 75, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't pick on them
So
either.
Let's just say you're much older, right? And you've already purchased a home back when homes could be purchased for a few years worth of salary. So
now it takes almost $100,000 to even have a down payment. In some areas,
it is getting to be. So if I were to buy a home right now, it would be a minimum. I would be, my salary times maybe 7 years is the price of a home. When my parents bought their first home, it was my dad's salary for a year. So I know that
significant change.
Yeah, I know that they're 82 and 87, but it does kind of put it in the same kind of what we're talking about the difference between generations and being able to relate to the younger group that's coming up, right? You need to have some of the similar struggles / experiences in order to get that part of our population energized into the conservative movement, right?
And in addition to that, when I go speak to the younger generation, the kids that are just coming into voting age or in college, and I talk to them, what do you think about the American dream? It's sad to hear some of their responses. They're saying to me, there is no American dream. I'm never going to be able to afford a house. I may not even get a job when I graduate because AI is going to take that, or it threatens to take that. And those are discussions that these kids are having before they've almost lost hope, before they've even experienced what it's like to work and to contribute to society. And that's sad to me.
I agree.
But I understand what they're going through because my generation went through 20 years of war. Pretty much on our backs, right? I was 18, 19 years old when I was in the military, 20 years old, 21. When you're looking at those factors, you get out. We had a recession in 2008. Our economy was pretty stagnant. We dumped a lot of money Government dumped a lot of money to rebuild in that stage. We've had 20 years of rebuilding, 4 different presidents in that span. And we're getting to a stage now where it looks like we're going to have to rebuild again. So I understand the concerns that they have, because I lived through it in a different way. And now I'm looking at what they're up against, which is completely different times and a completely different era. But they're facing some serious threats. And you're looking at them, and they're looking at you. You want to inspire them and give them hope, and they're looking to you for that leadership and that inspiration, because they can connect to me because I'm living it with them. I'm in my working life, and I'm out there doing those things, and you're trying to energize them. But in the back of your mind, it's going to take a lot of work by identifying what these key factors are and get people on board on both sides of the aisle to resolve those issues. The division that we have in our country is not helping us solve real problems.
Correct.
Because we're in a situation right now where 50% of the population either wins or loses. And if you know anything about American history, you know that Americans don't like to lose. And so it just intensifies this rhetoric and debate that's so negative towards people. It's crippling our family dynamics. It's crippling our education. It's crippling our communities. It's crippling our country. And that stuff is the stuff that we have to get over so we can benefit as a nation and as a whole. And it's a struggle, because the only way to inspire people is to get them to be able to have the ability to have the discussions and conversations that are needed.
But we've
to work
lost
together to fix the problems.
But we've lost the idea of friendly debate.
Yeah, decorum.
We have completely lost that script. That script existed when I went to college, and again, I'm 60, okay, but we disagreed vehemently with one another and still hung out at the student union center together. You know?
But you shook the hand at the end. It's like playing chess.
Yes.
You may lose on the chessboard, but you shake your hand and say that was good, and you go back and you rethink your strategy and your position and how you do stuff, and then you go back to the chessboard again and you play again.
But that's not the world that my grandkids are growing up in. The world my grandkids are growing up in, that I'm raising, is the world where if you have an opinion that the group doesn't like, they shout you down until they totally demoralize you. That's the world they're growing up in. And if I had a wish, I don't. I don't have a magic wand. If I had a magic wand, the ability to respectfully engage in debate would be one of the first things I would change about our society right now.
Well, the good thing is my campaign slogan and really my life motto is bridging divides.
That's
so my campaign
awesome.
slogan is bridging the divides. And when people ask me, like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean I'm compromising my moral compass or my moral values when I get into a conversation or I have a conversation with people who have differing views or opinions. What that means is I'm willing to sit down and have those discussions out of respect and dignity of other people's positions. What I'm looking for specifically, a lot of people have problems in this world. I'm looking for solutions. I want people to come to the table that are solution oriented. And I don't care what side of the aisle that comes from, because this isn't about me. It's about us. At the end of the day, what's best for Americans is what's best for us. And we've got to start prioritizing Americans. People say America first. That makes me feel like it's just the government of the United States. Somewhere along the line, the government of the United States became more important than its people. We have to start focusing on Americans first. The people in our country. When we make laws and legislations or we make decisions as lawmakers and even as people, we need to think about people first.
I believe that is one of the key issues with a lot of the legislation that we see passed, is that they go with a grandiose idea first that they think will get them voters or whatever, right? And they don't necessarily think it all the way through to how it affects the people, the Americans. So.
Right. The taxpayers, the ones that are breaking their back every day just to pay their mortgage and their groceries and pay for their car insurance and pay for their car payments and put their kids into good schools and try to make ends meet every month. You know, when you're raising taxes or property taxes continue to go up because housing values go up, or you're pressuring people to have to spend more money. You're like, oh, well, you know, we need to raise taxes to pay for something else. And then you see the waste, fraud, and abuse that's happening at every level of government, whether it's local municipality, state level, or federal level. And then you see, well, we just sent monies overseas to help something or to build something, and you're driving down a road and you're losing your fillings because the roads are beat up and destroyed. Or you see people that suffer and struggle from natural disasters in America, and we're like, well, we can't afford to help you because we spent all the money, or we sent money somewhere else. And so when you're looking at those things, people aren't feeling prioritized. They're feeling left behind. And that's sad. When you're driving around this country, and I drive a lot, I put at least 330 miles a day on my vehicle going out and meeting people. And that doesn't, I may drive that far to meet with 3 people in a day. But I value that time that those people give me. Any voter that I get to come to my side, I cherish and value. Notice I didn't say donor. I said voter. Any person that's willing to get behind me and be like, Justin, I believe in you because I believe you're putting in the work and you actually care about us. That's the only thing I care about in my campaign. When people look at me and they meet me and they walk away and turn their back, I want them to know in their heart that I actually care about them. And notice I didn't say I just care about Republicans. I care about people. Because in my district, we got a lot of hardworking people that care about this country, that are patriots on both sides of the aisle. We're about a 60-40 split. Sometimes 65-35. Republican, Democrat. I think we were plus 16 in the last election. But these are, when you're looking at these numbers, our communities are split almost down the middle. We got to make decisions that take care of everybody. We got to stop with the partisan stuff, back and forth, yelling and screaming, pointing fingers. You know, I was told as a kid, when you point a finger at someone, you know, you got 3 that are pointed back at you. Mm-hmm. And that's true. You know, we got to start taking accountability for our actions. That starts with transparency. Transparency and accountability are something that's really important. Our government seems to be losing that. There seems to be a class of people that aren't impacted by the same laws and rules and regulations that normal citizens in America live underneath every day.
Well, I don't think that's a seems to be. I think that's established fact right now. They don't have the same healthcare system. They don't have the same retirement system. They currently get pensions when they really should just go serve and go back home and have a job. Yeah. They have insider trading that's allowed, just all kinds of things that the average person doesn't actually have access to. And
well,
so,
in my congressional race, and I can only speak for myself, mm-hmm. I'm considered a grassroots candidate. Right? I come from a small town. I'm out there beating the pavement every day, meeting people. My district, aside from a couple pockets of affluency, we're not doing that great financially. People don't have money to give to campaigns. This isn't a super affluent area where you can just kind of walk door to door and everybody's going to max out your campaign contributions. A lot of the money that comes into the incumbent is out of the district. In the last cycle, it was like 78%
Oh, my.
of the money came from PACs, super PACs, and donors that were not present in the district. And they may claim like I'm a grassroots candidate, but that's not grassroots, because the people that I meet with are struggling to pay their bills. But they'd do anything for you. They can call my neighbor and say, hey, I need you to go to my house and put wood on my fire because it's cold at 11 o'clock at night. And they'll walk, they'll get in their car and they'll shovel it off and they'll drive and they'll go put wood on your fire. And I don't have to worry about them stealing my stuff because they're good people. That's the type of district that I live in. And that's why I want to represent these people, because they're not being represented by the elite class. They're forgotten. Their voices don't matter because they're not a donor or they're not a contributor. And that's sad, because the way politics are established and set up right now, the more money you have, the more propaganda you can spew on people to get them to vote for you. You get the little mailers every day that you throw in the trash anyway, but it's just name recognition. You get 10 billion signs that you put out there. You get all your commercials that are $1,500 a day runs or $10 each time it's on the radio. Get some bumper stickers. Get a couple of big billboards that you can pay for at $5,000 a month. Unlimited money coming from people you don't know and have no interest in the district. They just care about what committees you're on and whether or not they're going to get kickbacks when you're on those committees. And you see that, and that's driving our politics. And that's driving your politics in northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. So I can't imagine what it's doing in big ticket areas. You're talking a $15 billion run now every election cycle. That's a lot of money to spend on bumper stickers and yard signs. It's become a business, and that's terrifying. And me, not being a politician, getting into this, being naive, thinking that you just jump into it and you're going to get support. It's a learning curve. But one thing that I value and establish myself on is I'm not selling myself out to get elected. Because I've got to sleep and wake up every night knowing that I'm doing the right thing. And I think if we had more people in this country that could voice that and push that, we could really make change in this country. It doesn't have to be the elites versus everybody else. It's just we've all got to step up and say, listen, enough is enough. And I really think that that's something that we can do. It's just going to take a coalition of people with the same mindset that are sick and tired of the status quo. And it's hard, right? People love their hands out. They love to be in the spotlight, and they love the money, and they love the access, and they love the parties, and they love to be able to take pictures with people that they think are important. But at the end of the day, your job as a U.S. representative or a U.S. senator or a local person on a school board, your job is to represent people, not represent your own motive or your own agenda. Your job is to listen to the people that you represent and work for them, not work for special interests and corporations and big donors.
Absolutely.
Your job is to work for the people that don't have a voice.
Correct. Because it does boil down to, and I wish that we could make this happen. I wish we could go back to a time when there weren't super PACs, and I wish we could do away with lobbyists. Seriously. If you can't hear from the people in your state or your district directly and find out what they want, then you don't need to be focused on it. And all those fancy dinners and fine dining and trips to wherever, Those things will influence somebody when they're up there long enough.
They do influence.
Yes.
And then the more money that comes in, then you're also influencing other elections.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
At the state level.
Correct.
Where you're creating a flow of money to help other people get elected to push other agendas. That's not representation.
It's not. That's a good
I know
point.
that they do a great job of trying to cover that up. The big smiles and the nice speeches and, the really cool rat cards. And then anyone that comes and challenges the status quo, they're the devil. The Republican Party has some serious problems right now. And those problems are stemming from the fact that there are no plans. There is no agenda to push to help Republicans get reelected. We've been running into buzzsaws left and right, and the only thing that Republicans are saying, at least in my state, coming from the top, is we need to win and we need to raise money. Never is it, this is how you can create an agenda that actually serves your constituents. This is how you can be a better leader for your constituents. This is what your constituents need, and this is what you're going to do to make sure that happens. Nothing. From the top down. I've been to leadership conferences in the Republican Party in my state, and I was appalled at the fact that after 46 speakers from all levels, from state government to federal government to the highest levels of cabinet members, not a single person said, hey, this is a leadership conference. This is how you can be a better leader for your constituents. This is how you can better serve your communities. It was all about we got to win, win, and you got to raise money.
Well, we got to win it is a useless statement. It may be true, but it's useless from the nuts and bolts perspective, because when you're talking about leadership or managing the platform or even managing your own race, right? Running a race, an election, etc. It's not about we got to win. It's about why do we need to win. Right?
If you're
it's
doing
about
your job,
why. It's about why. It's always about why.
I feel this. If you're doing a good job, you'll win. If you're doing the right thing, you'll win. If you're getting out there and representing the voice of the people, you'll win. And the reason I say this is we don't really have a lot of people in terms of percentages that participate in elections. And that's going down every year, even though they say it's going up. It's going down every year, especially in the midterms, because people don't trust in the system. And I'm not talking about the going into election booths and trusting that process, although that's another argument. I'm talking people are losing trust in the government.
Yes, because
they're
losing trust in the ability that their elected representative will actually represent them. Yes.
Right.
That's what they no longer believe in. It is sad. You've used that word several times today. And it is sad that the American people, by and large, do not believe that their vote actually makes a difference. They do not. They do know that if a certain number of people vote, it'll go this way or that way. That's not what they don't believe in. They don't believe that who they elect matters. That's what they don't believe, because they don't believe that person, whoever it is, whether it's someone that espouses their same views or not, they don't actually believe that person's going to go to Washington and really make change.
Well, the good thing about this is it leads into an amazing segment, which is my dissertation for my PhD is on the disillusion of trust of the public in the U.S. government institution between 1960 and present. And what that shows is a sad story, and I'll bring that sad word up again, that 67% of people trusted the federal government in their decisions, 1960, and we're hovering about 19% right now.
Mm.
And based on research, that 10% of the population would trust the federal government no matter what. We've seen that. So when you're looking at those numbers, it becomes really scary because it's not absolute zero and trust is gone. You've got a 9 to 10% survivability rate for this country right now in terms of trust in the institution itself. That's really scary. Because what does that mean? If you continuously do things to violate the trust of the people that you're supposed to serve, and we have other things that are going to question integrity of our government system because of AI and deepfake and all these things. Reality is something right now that is becoming obscured. How do we make decisions at the federal level or at the state level to regain the trust of people? And nobody is talking about that. And we're seeing it unfold right now, another pillar in the release of the Epstein files, another pillar of institutional trust that looks like it's weakening. COVID, health, a pillar of our institution, weakened significantly. And you can go back through time, and there's from 1960 roughly until present, there's pillars that have been violated. Mass surveillance, the Edward Snowden document release, the NSA files, right? You can go back all the way to the Gulf of Tonkin if you want to. But when you're looking at those factors, and I know you appreciate history, when you're looking at these things, each time it's taking away public trust and violating people. And when that happens, when you have that breakdown of institutional trust, what is our government doing to reclaim that? If we don't have proper leadership that understand the importance of people trusting the federal government, trusting our currency, trusting our ability to make decisions overseas to help strengthen allies, it weakens our government system, and you're starting to see the effects of that. And that's only going to continue to decline, which is even more terrifying. The question becomes, what happens when it's at zero? And I don't have the answer for that. And I'm a conflict resolution specialist. I can predict some of those models. None of them are good. So you come into this, people say, Justin, why are you running for office? Because I'm really concerned. Because I feel like I have a unique set of skills to be able to go in and start fixing what's been broken. Getting coalitions of people together that think the same way, that really want to focus on rebuilding trust in the federal government, making the right decisions so we have a federal government. Stop the excess spending. Stop the manipulation. Start with transparency. Start with accountability. And these aren't fluff words or political talking points. This is a reality. If we don't start making laws that are beneficial to people, and we don't start taking accountability for our actions, if we don't stop pointing the finger at other people and say, what am I doing to contribute to the problem and how can I fix that? We're in trouble. And that's being honest. And I know that there'll be political strategists out there that say, don't be the doom and gloom person. I'm excited about America. I hope to live another 40 years on this planet. I really do. And I hope to live those years in the United States of America. That's why I'm getting into politics, so I can make decisions that guarantee that I can live a good and prosperous life, and the generation that follows me, your grandchildren, have that unique opportunity too. But at the pace we're going right now, and the people who are making decisions thinking that we're still living in 1950 or 1960, and we're not, that's detrimental to our progress in this country.
Absolutely.
We've got to come.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Quickly. We got to come quickly to reality.
What I hear out of this discussion is, and tell me if I've got this correct, So I would say, based on our discussion, that some of your top priorities are fiscal responsibility at the federal level, making sure that we can have conversations with one another so that we can actually come to real solutions that work for real people, right? Not some lofty, plans. That we get accountability and transparency in government so that we can restore trust in our systems, right? Back to our communities. And then being able to maintain and be in touch with the people in your community so you can actively represent them. Did I capture that correctly?
That's as spot on as it can get. And each one of those things are things that are within my control. You'll have politicians telling you that they're, the big talking points. We care about the economy. We love our veterans and veteran health care. And, we love America. Well, that's great. We love America. We love our veterans. Absolutely. As a veteran myself, that's something that means something to me. And the economy is super important. But those are all just talking points. The things that you highlighted, I can control. I can make those decisions and I can do that work. I can lead by example. And I don't want to be out there talking about talking points. I want to show people these are things that I actually can do, and I hope other people follow. Lead by example.
I love it. So, Justin, as we get ready to kind of wrap up our discussion today, tell the audience where they can connect with you, because you have such a large geographic area. And I feel like they need to find ways to connect with you, to learn about you, to volunteer, maybe to door knock in their county or, wherever, to donate, etc. Where can people connect with you? And then tell us when your primary is.
Absolutely. So you can go to my website, www.justinmichaelforcongress.com. It's Justin, Justin, Michael, Michal, forcongress.com. You can visit us on social media platforms. We're at Justin Michael for Congress on Facebook and Instagram. Those are two places you can go. You can also follow us on our YouTube. We post some videos on YouTube once in a while, especially our commercials and things like that. Or you can reach me directly. If you want to write me directly, it's Justin at justinmichaelforcongress.com. That's my email. You can send me an email. I'll respond to that directly. We do have a website that's on the campaign. The campaign staffers look at it, and if it's important, they'll send it to me. But I want to be one of the most accessible people ever in the history of Congress. I want people to know that I'm there for them because I care. So that's where you can reach me. Our primary is August 4th, 2026. It's going to be an exciting run. It's going to be here quicker than I realize. And again, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening, for allowing me to be on your podcast, have this discussion and conversation. The flow was incredible, and you reaching out to me and allowing me to do this, I'm very thankful and appreciative.
Well, thank you, Justin, for spending time with us today. Hey, I look forward to hearing more from you in the future. Absolutely. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Take care. God bless.
Bye. You've been listening to No Retreat. Guest Justin Michael. And as always, everyone, be blessed and be a blessing. Thank you.